Hi. Hi.
I just didn't know if we were going to say anything else. I just heard. It's just because everyone says hi at such a different time. I do not have one job.
To be fair, I have no jobs. You have one job. Let's go.
Okay, welcome back to...
Sorry, Ross
My
has
voice
become.
is going as well.
Ross has literally become like the. Right, come on, let's go. He's like some sort of producer on a film. Let's go. Right, yes. Okay, now, action.
Time is money, people. We cannot add on to these actors. These actors cost a lot of money. We cannot add on extra days.
Oh, I didn't do that the voice acting thing.
No, we didn't.
Oh, no.
Right, anyway. Welcome back to I Read It Online Somewhere. Join me, Amie, and my science teacher crew, Andrew and Ross, as we try to explain the science behind the everyday questions you should have asked at school. Sorry, my voice. It's ridiculous. But yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, hi. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 5. And if you have any questions, drop us an email. iReaditos@gmail.com or at iReaditos on all social media. So yeah, apologies for my ridiculous Phoebe Buffet voice. I don't know why. In fact, Andrew, you can maybe
You can't
help me.
use references like Phoebe Buffet anymore. That's what I found out at school.
No
one knows what Friends is, and it's destroying my soul.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know if you're finding the same thing.
I watched Friends today.
I know, but children just don't watch Friends.
Oh, our children will. Why do I have a sore throat? Oh, no, I don't have a sore throat, but I don't have like my voice is going.
Were you at partying?
No.
Well, yesterday Scotland beat Wales, and
No, because I have like a chesty cough for a couple of days.
Oh, so it's possibly just a little bit of mucus that's protecting you from any further infection, but that's kind of hanging on your vocal cords. So that'll be causing it.
Uvula?
Uvula.
Uvula? What was my uvula?
I thought it was a uvula.
Uvula.
That's a dangly bit.
Uvula. Yeah, the dangly bit thing at the back.
Yeah, that's not your voice box, though.
No.
You know that, Amie.
Your
No,
voice box is slightly
obviously.
further. It's just your larynx. Just here.
I did actually know that. But yeah, I just think it's like the first time that I've had a voice like this where my throat's not been sore.
But, see, when you do get a sore throat, what to do is count back 3 days from the first day you got your sore throat, and that's roughly when you possibly contracted it. It's it's a very rough estimate, but it kind of works.
Oh. I mean, I can tell you now it'll be from the kids.
Well, yes, yeah.
But yeah, so that's been my fun weekend. But yeah, I think Andrew, you are on the story this week.
I am, and actually
I have no idea what it is.
Well, it's really exciting because, well, is it exciting? Yeah. I read an article this week all about the science behind why we cry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know why Ross cries when someone wins Bake Off, when there's an emotional advert on.
Oh, well, that's it. That's actually really...
Your Homemade Perfect is my recent thing.
Yeah, Your Homemade Perfect. Stacey Solomon, Sort Your Life Out.
I have to ask, do you guys have like an instant... Are you criers? Do you cry or weep?
I'm a happy crier.
I don't cry...
I don't cry at sad stuff, really. I cry at happy stuff.
I maybe cry once a year on my own in the shower.
Really?
I don't like crying.
Wow.
I really don't like crying in front of people. Have you ever really seen me cry, Ross? I don't think so.
I proposed, you cried.
I don't think I did.
You did.
I honestly don't think
You
I
swore
did.
at me and then cried. I was like, oh, I've made a mistake.
Yeah,
here.
but I maybe was like I was maybe teary. I don't think I cried. I didn't like sob. I'm not like a sobber.
It's definitely teary.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, but like even when our kids are born, didn't cry. When I'm in pain, I don't cry. Maybe moan, obviously, but yeah, I just don't. I'm just not really a crier.
Lots of mourning. Yeah, definitely have that.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Shots fired.
So...
Well, someone might be crying tonight.
Before there are
Andrew,
any more
you a crier?
tears... Me? Oh, God, I cry at the drop of a hat. Like, I will literally... Like, although I can be very controlled, so I can... If it's probably just me in the house, then... Yeah, I'll weep, I'll blub, I'll just get really sad. Or happy, you know, like, so my tears are very much related to my emotions. But see if I'm like with other people, or
Mm-hmm.
like actually in school's probably the worst, because, or not the worst, but it's the hardest bit where I don't necessarily cry like openly as much as I would, especially if we're watching something sad. I got this DVD, and it is really quite sad. You watch a person die, and it's very, very emotional. And we kind of watch it, and then you put it on, and I'm just like, oh my god, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Or we're doing PSE, and we watched, oh, what did we watch? Like Inside Out or Up or something, and I'm like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. But yes, I cry quite a lot. I'm also quite open about how much I do cry, because it is ridiculous. But
yeah, I also think it's important. I don't get this whole thing about like men can't cry or show emotion.
oh yeah,
or...
exactly, because it's not. I think it is important that we do, and being human beings, we are the only species to cry because of our emotions. So we're the only species on the planet that cries because of our emotions, which can also be called psychic tears, which is part of our human condition. So that's part of being a human, means that we have when we cry, they are emotional. So
No, sorry, the cat just bit the cable for the microphone.
I was just like, no.
I was like, what? Yeah. So so part of us being humans means that we cry emotional tears, but so we don't cry just because we're sad. Because we also cry when we're happy. We cry when we're relieved. We cry when we're angry. We cry when we're surprised. We cry when. So it's not really understood why we cry emotionally, but there's a lot of information on what's in the tears. So these emotional tears that happen when we cry have higher concentrations of protein-based hormones, such as prolactin, which is like a neurotransmitter, a hormone, compared to tears that we have when we do other things. So when you're cutting onions, say for example, right, and your tears, like you get tears when you cry, or you air quotes, you cry when you cut onions. Those tears are less viscous; they're less sticky, and that's because they actually have less hormones in them than the tears that we have when we are emotionally angry. So there's a thought, and this is what the research kind of went into, and it was absolutely fascinating. But there's a thought that because the tears that when we cry emotionally have more protein in them, they hold on longer, so they take longer to run down your face. Therefore, other people are then able to tell. Yeah, people can see them, and then you're able to tell that that person is sad, happy, angry, etc. But it's it was absolutely fascinating, because
it does sort of make sense that, cause when you were describing that, I was like, oh yeah, I bet it's just so other people can see.
So other people can see that
Whereas
the
the onions
upset.
is more like a defense mechanism, like get this stuff out my eye.
Exactly.
Run as much as possible.
And then what happened was the research kind of went on, and they took samples of lots of different tears. They put them under a microscope and grew crystals from them. They let them crystallize. And the crystallization of the different tears is all completely different. It's also just beautiful to look at. So if you look
what
up,
a sad study, like just having to make people cry in different ways.
Yeah, but and then literally
just, like,
collect
making them
their
watch Bambi?
tears. Yeah, they
Very
didn't actually say,
Snape.
but isn't it really cool though? Because like you totally think that lots of other animals, so that you think other animals cry, but they don't. So
yeah, so my dog, I've heard, like, I don't
They
have a dog
whine.
anymore. They like whine and whimper and like pine.
but they do not cry.
My use sometimes, but they don't have like tears coming out of their eyes.
But if you do see stuff running down their face, because they do have weepy eyes and things like that, but that's actually not got anything to do with their emotions. It is literally just they have something in their eye, or they're a bit weepy. So the animals, it was elephants. So elephants are always known that they can, or they've always seen that elephants can cry. But actually, the reason that elephants have tears streaming down their faces sometimes is not because they're sad. It's because mosquitoes have tried to hit them in the eyes, or moths or something has hit them in the eyes,
Yeah.
and it's a defense mechanism. So a bit like
Yeah.
onion tears, they're defense mechanisms against you having something acidy or something touching your eye. So, yeah,
Ooh,
there you are.
nice.
That's,
That was interesting.
We are
Do you know
emotional
what's
criers.
interesting though? Because obviously like, babies cry when they like, because they do it for attention. They're not always sad. Like they're either like they might be hungry
Mm-hmm.
or tired or whatever, or just wanting a hug. But like when we drop our son at nursery, he'll cry obviously because he's leaving us, which you can understand. But also when we go back like a few hours later to pick him up, when he first sees us, he bursts into tears as well.
Yeah.
They're happy tears, I hope.
Well, they don't seem happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's just interesting. But it's like he's just because he's so emotional and he can't express it, so he's just like, I'm just gonna burst into tears.
Yeah, because it's another way to let someone else know. So it's non-verbal communication to let you know
Yeah.
that I'm happy, I'm sad, it's all those sorts of things. Because I've seen it certainly with, when Ronan was up at Christmas time and he was crying, and then as soon as someone went and picked him up, he like instantly stopped
was
crying,
fine.
and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm having a great old time, and I'm like, you crazy child trying to make us think that you're sad and you're not sad, but yeah, so there you are. And it's there was one study though that did show that tears made people's faces look sadder, and then that meant that more people were actually willing to go and give assistance to those people. Ouch.
Oh.
Ouch, sorry, as I've just punched the desk. But yeah, so there you are. Why we cry.
Nice. Good questions.
Evolution once again. Seems to be the answer for a lot of our questions.
Or refraction.
Or refraction, yeah.
Or a chemical reaction. That's kind of covering all the
Oh,
sciences.
Yeah.
Right,
Weird that there's
only
only three sciences.
Well, there's
No, like three main ones. Don't talk about geography or something.
no, there's one science, physics, and then there's branches of it, chemistry and biology.
Hilarious.
But
Andrew,
true.
your face is worrying me. It makes me feel like you're not recording.
Sorry, no, I'm recording. What was the
Okay.
question? I'm
Right,
sorry.
questions that I've thought of this week. And it's funny because it's all just things that are going on in my life, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that question is. Question one is, why does some wood rot and some doesn't?
Oh, that is a good question.
Or grow fungus? Basically, me and my mum both got houses or garden rooms. You know how these kind of people are getting offices built in their garden. So mum's
Yep.
is older, in fairness, but like only older by like a year. And it turns out that the guys put on the wrong cladding wood.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pine, I think, whereas we've gone for larch, and larch doesn't really. I think it might discolor, but like it should effectively last, like as if it's been an extension to house kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, so I've been told. But yeah, mum's is already growing fungus after like less than 2 years.
Ooh.
And then when she got someone to look at it, they said like, oh, it's not pine solid wood, it's just pine, whereas ours is like larch solid wood. So I'm just curious, like why? Is it water? Is it chemistry? Is it?
Well, yeah. So I was just double checking because I wasn't really too sure what species a larch is, but it is still part of like.
So ours is larch, yeah. So that's it's either larch or is it cedar? Is that wood?
Cedar, yeah, they're both types
See,
of wood.
larch or cedar are the two best to use, I think. But yeah, it's just a bit crazy. Trying to find the science out for my mum, but
Yeah, well,
hers-
so I mean, it can be to do with the type of wood that it is. You also have to consider things like dampness and like where water sits, because that can have an issue on creating the right anaerobic conditions for bacteria
No
things to grow.
oxygen.
No oxygen.
the
And
N means
the-
no. I'm just remembering my fourth year biology.
The other, like, as well is especially like in Scotland's climate, like moss and lichens and fungi can grow like incredibly easy and incredibly quickly, especially if there's no necessary movement. Is it in a corner at the back of the room? Like so if you
it's on the outside.
yeah, it's on the outside, but is it is it is it at the front
in
of the
the
building or
corner?
the back of the building?
I don't
It's on
know.
both sides and it's on the lower side.
Yeah. Okay. So it might just be that it's a little bit darker there as well, which encourages more fungal growth. And then the fungi just start to eat the wood, because the carbon is trapped in there, and fungi's job is to remove the carbon and put it back into the atmosphere, which is why we have fungi. They're incredibly important, even though they do destroy lots of buildings like that. But the
So basically, is my mum's garden room going to be destroyed?
If left untreated, then yes. But it depends on like that wood, and this is the problem with like wooden buildings as well, especially at the bottom. That can all rot and be eaten away by the fungus, and then like you're left with the top stuff, but you can't really replace the bottom stuff. So that's what happened to my shed, and it was eaten from the bottom up, and then I pulled it down. So yeah, it potentially may be in danger.
Oh, sorry if you can hear a child's crying on our podcast.
I did, but I was just gonna ignore it.
That's what we're doing.
I know you
a
can't
couple of
necessarily
minutes.
ignore it, but
So something I read before is that like we can never get more coal again. Because when coal was like made in the earth, the fungi hadn't evolved to break apart the coal.
yeah,
So we could get like peat type stuff again because that's about it falling in the like wet conditions and everything.
yeah.
However, we
wet,
can't get the
low
same
oxygen
layer build up
conditions.
of we can't get the same build up of coal ever again because fungus will break down the wood before it can do it.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah.
thought was quite interesting.
Plus, like, we'll need so much time for it to happen and pressure. So all of those things combined, yeah. And that's why coal is a finite resource. So once it's done, it's done. But yeah, peat can come back, but again, it takes a long time for peat to get to that point. But considerably quicker than coal. But yeah.
Nice. Right, my next question that I thought of this week is, can you make a non-alcoholic whiskey, like Scottish whiskey, taste as good as an alcoholic one? So, obviously whiskies gets its flavour mainly from the casks, like the ex-sherry wine bourbon casks.
Sherry. Yeah.
So how could you go about it? Because I know a lot of non-alcoholic drinks, they make it alcoholic and then remove the alcohol.
Oh.
Yeah, because
I
there's
didn't
a
know that.
company that started up in Edinburgh that's doing like non-alcoholic IPAs, and they're one of the only companies that just don't do alcohol to begin with. Because a lot of other companies do alcohol. And then what else did I see? Sorry, this is a bit like me with the snakes, but there was someone on Dragon's Den that's doing a non-alcoholic drink as well. Can't remember what kind of drink it is. And then one of the dragons like
Peter Jones, I saw this one.
did you see it on TikTok?
Yeah.
Peter Jones is like, oh, is he still on Dragon's Den? Was this ages ago?
It might have been an old one.
Oh, I'm thinking Duncan Bannatyne. Sorry, it might have been an old one. And then Peter Jones was like, "Excuse me, how can you? You're not actually non-alcoholic because it says there's like 0.5% alcohol." And then he was like, "A banana is 0.5, or was it banana?
A ripe banana.
He did say banana.
and orange
Yeah.
juice.
Yeah. How weird is that though?
But
So
they're
could you
not-
get
they're not-
hammered on
yeah.
a ripe banana? Like if you had like
well,
10?
Well, animals do.
Animals do, yeah.
Really?
I think elephants do that. They
Elephants, yeah.
use. I can't remember what the name of the tree is, but yeah, that's what elephants do.
Fun fact:
They
I
hold it in their
almost
trunk or something.
I almost got squashed by a baby elephant when we were in Thailand when we went to go and bath them, and then the babies literally just have the time of their life. Like they just like
Stand in the water and just flop over.
yeah, they just stand there and like want to splash. And then I stood right behind it as it did it, and I just managed to
no.
get out of the way. I literally like, and obviously a baby elephant is still huge.
It's still huge, yeah, man. Alive.
Also, they are the longest pregnant animal. They're pregnant for, is it 23 months?
Something like that.
Look
yeah.
it up. 23 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are blue whales
it's
longer?
really, it is really long.
Do you mean, is it gestation? Is that what the right word?
Gestational.
Did you just make a size joke?
Yeah. Well, no, I was just like, well, actually, whales are longer.
Oh dear.
Like you said, it's the longest animal, but I was like, no, whales are longer.
No, but it's meaning like longest pregnancy.
The way you worded it, you said the longest pregnant animal. I'm like, well,
Like,
whales can get
Ross,
A
pregnant. too.
giraffe
Ross,
is
it was terrible.
giraffe is longer. Anyway, how have we gone from non-alcoholic whiskey to pregnant whales?
Animals get drunk too.
Yeah.
So back to then, can you make Scottish whiskey that's alcohol-free? Somehow? No, I don't think you can.
Okay, I just got my question answered, so that was it.
I don't think you can. The
Well,
I will
to
tell
be a
you this,
whiskey,
though.
you have to be. Oh,
Oh,
Andrew, you
sorry,
can do
Ross is obsessed with whiskey, so...
No, go for it.
No, it sounds like Andrew's going to do it. You do it.
Okay, one of you do it. What are you doing?
Well, it's not me because my fact is not about whiskey right now.
All right, okay. So to be a whiskey, it has to be matured in a...
In a cask for
Like-
3 years
And
in
what- and 1 day.
Scotland.
In Scotland.
And 1 day, 3 years and 1
3
day.
years and 1 day in Scotland.
To be
and-
called Scotch malt.
Well, for the Americans to call it Scotch malt.
And that's, you spell it
There
with
you go.
just a Y, whiskey,
Oh,
instead of whiskey.
has anyone seen the thing going around on TikTok where it's somewhere niche in America have opened up this British bar and it just sounds terrible, like the food and the drinks that they've got? It's just really funny.
A Scottish bar? No, I haven't.
No,
heard
it's
that.
like it's just like a British bar, and they've called it literally like the Horse and Crown, or something like that, and
Oh.
it sounds terrible. It's probably like when we try and open like TGI's here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I just found out, which I didn't know. Do you know methylated spirits?
Yes.
What's that
So the
like mouthwash?
purple-
So when they
it's
usually put
like-
purple in, yeah.
Yeah, they put purple in it. So they put the purple in to stop people drinking it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. I thought that was really cool. So they methylated it. They turned it, or they put the purple stuff in it, which is an emetic, which makes you throw up because you can drink small quantities, or people used to drink small quantities of it, even though it's really bad for you, because it's methanol, which is a type of alcohol, but not the drinking type of alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
It can make you go blind. And one of the ways to watch out for it, 'cause we got warned about this when we went on our, well, are you allowed to say lads holiday? Lads holiday many years ago. If you're having like a mixer and a Coke at the bar, if it's meths instead of ethanol, then it'll have like a blue shimmer on the top. So like if you get a low angle and watch the light reflecting off it, meths has a blue shimmer, whereas ethanol doesn't. So we left one of the
Oh.
bars because it can obviously make you go blind if you drink methanol rather than ethanol.
Yes, it can. And if you've got any questions relating to alcohol or animals with the longest gestation period, or hopefully not a combination of the two, please feel free to email us, ireaditos@gmail.com, or contact us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or TikTok at ireaditos. Thank you very much for those of you who have left us reviews. It's really good to read them. And if you are able to leave a review or rating, that would be great. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.